Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll put my phone down. I'm Erica Sietsma. I'm the founder and CEO of Autofluencer. We are a platform to help brands and drivers, creators, influencers partner more easily, helping both sides do more of what they love. And we're super excited today to be here at PRI, first day to talk about content creators and the future of social media. So we've got a kick-ass panel. I'm gonna let each of them introduce themselves and we'll dive right in. And just so you know, for Q&A, we will have, they're gonna bring up a mic stand near at the end. And the last 15 to 20 minutes, we were told we could go long if we have a lot of questions since there's nobody in this room after us. Yes. And then luckily you'll have plenty of time to get over to the happy hour after. So let's start off. Matt, we'll let you go first.
Yeah, happy hour, that's the number one priority, that's for sure. What up, everybody? I'm Matt Field. I am a professional drift driver. I've been drifting for 20-something years, and I've been doing it professionally for 14 now. I am a business owner. I own my own motorsports business where we build and maintain not only my own motorsports program, but also stuff for customers. Everything from the smallest job, needing a roll cage, to track prep, to bringing your car to the racetrack for you. I've been mainly focused and kind of trying to reshift my program and get away from just the branding of I am a driver and trying to be a very good partner for my sponsors and try to grow the sport and push it into a place that I never saw possible. So we are here at PRI. We debuted the brand new C8 drift car at Sietsma, and this is the second time that most people have ever seen it. So for me, that's really a perfect case example of where you can take this motorsports game, because I just started off as a broke 16-year-old drift driver, and now I'm here talking to you guys. So who would have thought? And my business is Drift Cave Motorsports.
What's up, guys? My name is Krista Baldwin. I am the Director of Marketing for the Wharton Automotive Group. That contains McLeod, FTI, Competition Clutch, and Silver Sport Transmissions, all drivetrain related. And on the side, I am the only team owner and driver in the NHRA and the Pro Ranks. I have a top fuel dragster, so I cover 1,000 feet in 330 miles an hour in 3.7 seconds. So it's awesome. I love it a lot. Just like my job. I love my job as well. But I'm super excited to talk to you guys, especially on the manufacturer side. I do see all of those sponsorship proposals all year round, and so I'm excited to give you guys some tips.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Sexton. I'm the CEO and founder of Sexton & Co. Marketing. We are a marketing agency that specializes specifically and works with companies just like yours, automotive performance businesses. We are the ones that help build your strategies around what a lot of these folks here do and drive revenue, build campaigns that give you an ROI. And yeah, we're happy to be here. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Jane. I am a Army veteran. So I did serve 6 years in the U.S. Army National Guard. Went in at the age of 17, got out at the age of 23 to pursue my career in the motorsport industry. I had just gotten my SECA license, so that's a huge accomplishment for myself. I'm also a content creator. I've been in the game for almost 7 years now, so there's that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I did serve as a 91 Bravo wheeled vehicle mechanic, so I did work with diesel vehicles.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you, everybody. So one quick thing we just want to level set. When we think of the use of brands or manufacturers, kind of use those interchangeably, of content creators or influencers or drivers, as a level setting stat, 93% of advertisers or brands used influencers or drivers in some shape or fashion in their marketing in 2024, with 20% of those spending over 10% of their overall advertising budget on influencer relationships, and 26% of those brands spending over half their marketing budget. And it's expected to grow in 2025, where we will see more and more manufacturers and brands leveraging the help of content creators to get their word out, to connect with audiences, to connect with buyers. So, some people, I don't know if anybody, show of hands in this room real quick, who's a manufacturer / brand / agency? Show of hands, show of hands, show of hands. Show of hands in the room, who is a creator, a driver, an influencer, a race team? Nice. Okay, that's helpful. That helps give us kind of the level set there. And so I don't know how many people in the room remember early 2006, 2007 when people used to say, oh, social media, that's a fad. That's going to go away. And it didn't. And in the last few years, you've heard people say, oh, influencers? Oh, shit, that's a fad. That's going to go away. Well, it's not. So we're here to kind of talk about that. But with that, I would like each of the people, because they each have a pretty diverse perspective of where they're at. Can you level set for the audience, how do you define content creators and that work that you do in this particular case?
So it is funny to think and even consider myself as a content creator or influencer on any level. In my mind, I am still a race car driver. That's what I am. That's what I was. Fast forward to having the partners that you have and needing to check certain boxes and provide my partners with what they need. One way or another, whether I like it or not, I have become an influencer. I know. I don't want to say it. But what that really means is that I'm able to provide something that my partners need. If they need quick turnaround, I can do it. If they want a picture or a reel, I can do that. If they want me to do some sort of install video, I can do that. I've tried to make myself easily accessible so that I can provide whatever it is that my partner needs. But that's really what it comes down to it. Each and every partner needs something a little bit different. So in my mind, how I look at it is, I'm the guy who says yes, and I get the freaking job done. That's what I do. And if I do my job real well, maybe they'll give me some money to go racing. Maybe.
Courtney, what about you?
I had never thought that I would be up here calling myself a content creator or an influencer. So those words are very different, and I didn't really discover that until maybe 2 years ago, where I had some active duty military veterans, retired, or people who are reservists or National Guard had started reaching out to me, and they're like, hey, how did you get to where you are today? How did you do it? Give me the steps, give me the answers. And I'm like, I didn't think that I had so many people, men and women, really look up to me. So for me, being a content creator was, I never would have thought that I would ever become one. But if I could just be general with it and what I do, it requires a lot of planning, filming, editing, networking, and engaging with audiences. Engaging with the audiences is very difficult. It consumes a lot of my time, but it's definitely worth it, because if I can help other military, whether if it's active duty, veteran, retired, or reserves, be a part of the motorsport world, I believe that is my goal and my purpose, and I believe that's what I'm serving next.
So a content creator, especially what I see on the manufacturer side, I mean, it's something, it's a way of marketing, right? And of course I want to see my branding out there, but I also want to showcase that, when you buy a McLeod clutch, that you are able to go in your garage, drop your transmission, and you can do it. Get your hands dirty, and that's kind of the feel that we love to do it. Everyone at the Wharton Automotive Group, we are all into motorsports, all kinds, all the way from Formula Drift to top fuel racing like Paul and I. And but the biggest thing is I want to connect with my audience. I want to connect that my brands, I can help you achieve your goal as well, and hopefully my products are the solution to get you to that point. And so for you to get on your camera and just shoot something like, hey, this McLeod clutch is awesome, the Silver Sport transmission, it was super easy to deal with them, because it's a one-stop shop, and I'm trying to make this huge transmission swap, and they got it. They were awesome. And so I love when I get those validation videos. But for the actual creator, I just want you to connect with me. I want you to showcase my brands and showcase your personality with my brands, and that's how it all is good in the end.
Yeah, I would say you guys covered it pretty well. I will just say this, from the business side, our clients look at creators and look at influencers in ways that they align with their brands. And I say that it comes down to, you guys doing fun stuff with your cars, your race cars, your audience with their products or similar products, and the alignment between the two. And I think the better that you can engage with your audience, the more thought that you put into your content, but really just showing, the fun things you can do with it, the more that businesses will look at you.
Okay, so when we think about the content being created, and I'm going to focus now on the brands and manufacturers' needs, how do you know when to work with a content creator or influencer or driver versus a production agency getting like a commercial shot or a training video shot? How do you distinguish and make those choices? Krista, I'll start with you on this one.
So each of those options have its own place within my marketing budget, my marketing plan for the year. And so to connect with the grassroots people, I want to get with that content creator. Like CJ, you know, she's working hard in her garage to get her car out onto the track, and that's what we like to see. But also, there's huge value in going through an agency, and they have the tools that I might not personally have to, you know, reach out to more people that are more suitable to my brand. So each side has, you know, its own place in my own strategy throughout the year, but it really depends on what the vibe is that month. Honestly, you know, or what product we're pushing or which brand has it. I mean, we could either go full drag racing or, you know, we go full autocross or just something for the street. I mean, we have OEM replacement parts as well. So just depending on like what the message I have and what I want to get across in the product, it really depends on, okay, is this product for the grassroots racer, or is it like, am I trying to push it to a broader audience that goes on the street, not necessarily the track? So both have its own place.
And real quick, Matt, I'll pass this to you, is, you know, and we've talked about this, there are sometimes, for a brand or a manufacturer, hiring an actor, right, and paying to get a commercial built might be what's right versus working with a creator, because with a creator, they're going to create and inject their personality. So can you speak to a little bit, because you've got a lot of experience with maybe a manufacturer not understanding the difference between you and an actor, they can tell what to do.
I am pretty fortunate that over the years, most of my experience is with companies that have me do what I do. Selfie stuff, talking in front of the camera, looking at this camera, talking about a product, informative, instructional, and connecting with people, because I like to turn wrenches. I get my knuckles bloody. I'm there every day at the shop. So a lot of my partners really love that part of it. I have done the commercial side of things, of course, which is much more show up, mic, hair, makeup, reading lines, trying to remember lines, which I'm terrible at. I could freeball this any day of the week. But if I got to try to remember some lines, it's a lot more difficult. So I think what I try to understand is, what are the goals? What are the goals of the partner? And I think that a lot of us drivers get caught up in this needing to pitch a commercial. Hey, I want X dollars per year, and I'm willing to do this style, heavily edited commercial. And whether it be making yourself available for the commercial or trying to pay for it all on your own. But that's the thing. Why offer if you don't even know that that's what they want? So I think the biggest question is asking the manufacturers or even the agency that you're working with, what is the goal? What is the strategy of this whole program? A lot of times when you find yourself in front of the camera and you're working with the agency and you need a ton of different edits and whatnot, that's what the manufacturer wants. So I think being easy, being the guy who says yes, just like I was saying before. If they want you to show up at 6 a.m. and do that commercial shoot, do it. But also don't make it a priority for yourself that that's the only thing that you can do, because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of value in just the do-it-yourself video with iPhone. Almost equal value.
Yeah, you guys both hit it right on the head. It comes down to the mission, or, you know, what is the goal that you're trying to achieve? And I would say I've seen zero produced with a phone pieces of content outrank and outperform very expensive commercial type videos. And so it really just comes down to the content, and it comes down to what's the message and what's the goal that you're trying to accomplish.
For me too, sorry to cut in, but I've done stuff like for a series, for example, if a series is going to be showing your commercial for that company throughout the year on the billboards, on the Jumbotrons, that's very different. So make sure you're understanding what the piece of content is for, so you don't look like an idiot, I guess. Yeah,
Absolutely.
For the whole year, immortalized, look, yeah.
And I'm going to go a little further on this though too, so that people are clear on the difference. From a content creator's perspective, a commercial vibe may not be something, well, you might be okay to shooting it and getting usually paid So commercials are usually paid for the brands, manufacturers, and the audience if you want to dictate the script. But as a content creator, and Courtney, maybe you can speak to this, what happens when you try to put a commercial type feel content on your page?
It doesn't do very well. At least for me, it doesn't do very well. And I'm just being brutally honest. My content is very raw, very me, very who I am, very much who I want to be. And that's why you chose to work with me, because you see something in me. Now, when you're like, hey, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, okay. And then I have created it already and I, give it to you for a revision. You're like, this is not what I wanted at all. And I'm like, oh, shoot, all right. So I go back and I'm like, all right, what do we want to change? And then after 3 or 4 revisions, it comes out to me wearing like a poloed shirt, button up, and I'm kind of speaking like a robot. And you can tell that it's very much, hey guys, my name is CJ, Courtney Jane Racing. Today I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. And it's not very tailored to me like how it was supposed to be. And that's where I get very confused. And then as far as producing it, right, I just have an iPhone and I have a computer that can edit, and I have like these little Bluetooth mics, and that's about it. Lighting, I depend on the sun and the clouds, and I do not have professional lighting. So I do what I can to make it work. I'll wait till the sun sets or early in the morning, or use garage lighting, and then I have to figure out spacing because I don't have a shop. I just work in my garage with what I have and with what I got with the lighting. I don't have a huge budget to spend on a certain piece of equipment. So I'm sorry that it's not professional. I try, and then it just comes out looking a little weird. And so that's where, the content that I make becomes very unique. I just don't have that stuff, but, I try to make it as nice as possible.
Well, and I think, Courtney, if I ask around the room, how many, show of hands, we had a whole bunch of people raise their hand that you're a driver or content creator. How many of you have professional media kits in your house? Show of hands. Okay, so Courtney, you're like this audience, right? And I think with brands, in a lot of cases, that is the difference, right? Between you could pay thousands of dollars to hire a production agency to do it, or you can work with someone like a Courtney. Now, Matt has a full production agency, right? But, that's part of it. And just like Brian, you just said, is those with little production effort, with the iPhone and a computer, can often, and more often than not, outperform heavily produced content if done well and if letting the creator create. So let's stay with this. And Courtney, you can go up next. I think there's sometimes a misconception with brands or manufacturers or people that are maybe not doing the content side of things that they're just playing on their phone on social media, that it's easy. Right? It's not that much effort. How hard can it be? I see them all the time. They just got their phone out, they're like, and then like they throw it up on the interwebs. Like, it can't be that hard. Talk to you about what it actually means trying to do content creation as a profession.
It's difficult. It takes a lot more time than what you may think it is, because on your end, you're watching a 7-second video or 3-second, 5, or maybe even 10. Filming, depending on what it is, can take 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours. Editing can take, another hour or so, depending on what my goal is, especially when it comes to transitions, right? I don't have any fancy stuff to make things work, so I depend on my phone and the movements and lighting and making sure that's like decent enough to pass. And then also doing research too, and I know a lot of you guys who create content with just their phones and minimal equipment, sometimes when we're trying to find audio, it can take forever. Trying to see what's trending, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the motorsport industry, the racing industry, influencing, content creating in general, lifestyle. So it takes a lot of research too to find the right audio. How are you going to do it? Brainstorming the reel, getting the right shots, and and making sure you're finding the right pieces of content and footage to make everything work and tie in together. So tops maybe 4 hours, maybe 3.
So for me, I find myself at a very strange place where before I did everything on my own. I handled all my social media. I handled all the contracts, all the meetings, worked on my own car, drove my car to the racetrack. I'm a lot more spoiled now. Don't get me wrong.
But you've been doing this For how long?
Yeah, 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
Not overnight.
No, for sure. But a huge part and a huge asset is this guy right here, Brandon Scarpelli. He is started off as just social media manager and now is basically my right hand, an actual manager. And that really was what enabled me to find more free time to do what I need to do, whether it be working on the car, whether it be in meetings, whether it be talking to my partners to figure out what they want, or even providing them what they want. But without somebody helping me, I was never able to just budget the time. It was just a bandwidth thing. It wasn't, I'm lazy, or I don't like social media, or I don't want to make this video, or I don't want to have that meeting. It was just a bandwidth thing. So that was a huge thing that turned the page in my program. Yeah. Once we made that step, it was like you'd be able to ask me, Matt, can you create this video? You might not even let me know. You might tell Brandon. Brandon lets me know. And as of pretty recently, I have somebody who comes to my shop 2 to 3 days a week, specifically to shoot content for our brands. And that was huge as well. Because some of the time, I don't want to do a selfie video, and a lot of the things that I'm doing, being a hands-on motorsports race car guy, I need 2 hands. So then I'm setting my phone on a stand over there, which we've all done. That works out well. But it just has a different feel. So this new guy that I have coming, Lewis, he has been a huge asset because you can give me, hey, Matt, I want these 3 videos in the next 3 weeks. This is a sale that we're doing. This is some type of install, whatever it might be, and then an informative style video. And I can knock out those 3 videos within the one trip. And now I'm able to do that for 4 or 5 brands. So right away, with 1 day in the shop, which most people take the entire freaking day to do, right, I get it, I am now able to do 5 or 6 times that amount of work. So, but between, I'm gonna ramble a bit here, sorry. That's at the shop, but then you have what's going on at the racetrack. And I know most of us can barely afford to get the car out on the racetrack, let alone the tires and the fuel. But if I could have one piece of advice for you guys is find the budget for a photographer. It is incredibly valuable to be able to provide these brands with a folder after the end of each day, at the end of each race, that they can then use. I can't tell you how many times my partners who are on the mailing list, who have access to the folder 24/7, will still contact me and ask for a picture for something. And then all I do is, Brandon, send them the link. And it's like they've had the link all year. But that is why it's valuable. That's why I think people tend to work with me, because instead of me saying, yeah, let me go find that picture, or let me get a picture at the next round, I have an answer for them within 5 minutes. And I always respond to my emails immediately, and I get that link sent out immediately. So have a photographer. And then, of course, if you can have some sort of videographer to even produce one reel of one race, that's everything. Like, don't tell yourself I'm gonna do it myself, because you freaking won't. We're drivers. We don't have time. We're already wrenching on the car and dealing with meetings. Pay somebody to do one reel. What really helped Brandon and I when we launched our strategy is there was this girl, Victoria, Vital Focus Media. She literally was like, hey, Matt, I just took this reel. And I was like, let me buy that. How much is it? $25. I'm like, what? Of course, sign me up. How many more? Can I buy 3 per day? She's like, that's a little too much. But, but if I bought one reel a day while I was at the race, $50, $75, and the amount of return on investment that provided to all of my partners that get tagged, all of the logos that are on the car, is immense. Because most of us say we're going to do it, and then we just don't.
I love that. And I'm actually going to hit you on this one too, Krista, because what I find really interesting is you do both, right? Because of your racing, so you know what it's like. You've been on both sides. And then a cool story is you have such respect for content creation that you hired a content creator then to do the content for your brand, and not just as a contract content creator, but as an employee, right? Recognizing. So I'd like you to speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when I started with the Wharton Automotive Group, I've been with them for 10 years now. I started as a social media intern on Paul Lee's Nitro Funny Car, and so I'd go out to the NHRA races with him and, you know, post for him and all that stuff. And then when I graduated college, he offered me a full-time job at McLeod. And so I started as the marketing and, you know, just baby steps. And now we have 5 brands under our umbrella, and it's a lot of work, you guys. I don't think you understand what running 5 companies is like. And so I knew that I needed to expand. I just didn't know how, and I didn't know who. And so we went to the MPMC show this year. And of course, we're meeting all the wonderful content creators and media and agencies and if you guys can go to MPMC, it is absolutely one of the best shows and best networking places that you can, for anyone, for manufacturers, for racers, for agent, like you meet everyone in the industry. And so I met Bear Dellinger and I asked her, I'm like, hey, it just like clicked. The second she walked through the door, I'm like, I need to ask her if she wants to work with us. And so Bear is, a content creator in herself, but she also understands the brands because she also uses the products. And so, like I said, it goes back to everyone at the Warren Automotive Group. We are all enthusiasts at the end. And so to bring Bear on, I knew that I literally ran out of bandwidth. I couldn't handle the social media on my own anymore with 5 brands plus 2 race teams. I couldn't do it. And so as a manufacturer, I encourage other manufacturers and other brands, like, please bring in that social media content creator or that social media expert, even if it's an intern. I mean, I started out as an intern in college. Paul signed off like 3 of my classes that I didn't have to do, So like it is super, super valuable. And our brands have significantly grown in the last 6 months with Bear on board with us. And then I'm able to, put my efforts towards something else and, more broad and more outreach and, how are we going to tackle the Middle East and Asia and all that stuff. Everyone needs a clutch in their life, I think. So, but on the brand side, I also see the value in it. And as a racer, Matt, I do the exact same thing. I have someone that takes pictures for me. I have someone that does the video for me. I brought on a new marketing partner at the last race at the World Finals. It was Zern LK, which is all your water filling stations. And I did so much content for them. So now I'm just hoping that they're going to come back and be like, man, I want to be on your race car all year round. That'll be awesome. But I also brought in a couple of my friends to do all the content for me because, like Matt said, I'm sitting there, I'm working on the car as well, and I don't have 3 arms. I'm sorry.
We've used the word partnership a lot, and I think, for any manufacturers sitting out in the audience or any drivers, creators, as you think about getting a sponsor, you think about building out a sponsor program, or you want to take your sponsor program or your influencer program that next level, you've heard kind of everybody say it, but lightly, I really want to dig into what is a quote-unquote partnership. What does that look like, and what would you say makes the partnerships successful?
Definitely when you first get into this game, everything's a sponsor. And let's be real, it almost is a handout. It's a one-way ticket, it's a one-way exchange. You don't provide the return on investment that they're expecting, but I think that from the brand side of things, that's okay. Because they're betting on you. They believe in you, they're betting on you, they're planning on you eventually coming back. Because that year one, it's almost a charity. It really is. But eventually you get to the point with these brands that you've worked with them for a couple of years, and then it becomes a partnership. And now I'm at the place with my program where I sell partnerships. I don't sell a one and done. I don't sell a give me a part, one video, I never talk to you again. I'll buy it. I'll buy the part at that point. I want to make sure that they know who I am, what I'm doing, my goals, my direction of my program, and I also want to understand what's important to them. Because at the end of the day, we need parts, we need money, we go racing. We're pretty simple creatures, us racers, right? But brands on the other side are very complex. So understanding what they need so that you can provide with them throughout the year, which then in turn turns to 2 years. And then now you're pitching just being involved with you as a person. So half of my partners are just straight up money, parts, whatever, go racing. I provide this, this, and this. And a lot of them are much more on the lifestyle brand. For example, Heatwave. I've been with Heatwave for a long time. They don't make parts for race cars. They make sunglasses. You don't necessarily need sunglasses to go racing. But I'm sure, as a lot of you guys know, they are one cool freaking brand. And why is that? That's because they team up with awesome people who do cool stuff. And I just find myself as a fortunate person who've got in early enough and get to rub shoulders with some pretty amazing people. But that's the outlook that I try to have with that. That's a partnership. It's not a handout. It's not just, here's some sunglasses to go racing. I really want to understand the company's direction. And I mean, it's very clear. They like cool retro shit that goes fast. So sign me up. I'm right there with you. But every brand's a little bit different.
Brian, you manage a lot of brands and their sponsorship programs.
We do, and I say probably the biggest thing, and Matt, you touched on it, is value. What value can you bring to a company? Why should they give you a part or even pay you to do content? And you think about that in a way that you're a representative, almost, an employee or an extension of that brand. And so that's really what we look at, and only partnerships. We have gone through entire sponsorship lists with clients, and honestly, the people that don't post, that don't tag, that don't create content or provide any value, they get cut. And so but I think honestly that's fair. That's fair. So that's how.
I really like what Matt touched on. Like, it starts off as a sponsorship and becomes a partnership. I do really believe in that because for me, sponsorship is one thing, but in the end of the day, like, I want to be treated like family. I want you to be treated like family. Partnership is very family oriented for me because you guys are more than just supplying me the part. You're more than just maybe, helping with sponsorship money and funds. But without you, without the brand, without you guys believing in me, like, we wouldn't be doing this together. And for me, it means family to me. So there's that. And then, being honest, integrity, commitment to the brand, making sure that you guys are aligned. Because if you're not aligned, it's not going to be a good time for the both of you. And I've also learned my lesson in that aspect as well, because that's also very important.
So a partnership, especially on my side, on the manufacturer side, I'm going to tell you straight up, I've been burned before. A lot of people have sent me that email like, hey, I'm able to fulfill these needs for you and this and that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Send them the product. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting, and now it's 6 months later, and it's like, let me go back on their Instagram page. Did they even post about it? Okay, there was one unboxing video. I'm like, cool, like, I know what my box looks like. I need to see it in the car, you know what I mean? And so that's also the hard part, and believe me, I do this myself on the racing side. You have to break through that barrier. You have to, like CJ said, the trust has to be there, and so that's why I'm super, not cutthroat, but it does take me a second to go to weed through and see, like, okay, is the passion pulling through on that email? Because I'm a super passionate person. I love what I do, and if you don't love what you do and you want to be on my family, I'm sorry, you got to love what you do. And so with that being said, it does take a while for me to weed through, who are the good people and who are the bad people, who's going to provide, this spotlight that I need in this sector of the world, and who's not. And it's a difficult process. And if you're out there reaching out to manufacturers, continue to reach out. It's not because we're ignoring you. It's just we've been burned before, and it just takes us a second to weed through all of the bad ones to find the few good ones. And so, but that introduction email is huge. Huge. You gotta, one, you have to spell everything correct. And, like McLeod is not like a cloud in the sky. We don't spell it like that. And so if you do that, you're already out. I'm sorry. But no, it just spell check and make sure that your passion is going through that. And if you are able to compose an email of a couple of paragraphs, and I see that you are super excited to be in my team, be like, heck yeah, like, let's follow up on a Zoom call. Let's figure out what you do. Let me check out your Instagram page, because let me tell you, every single email that comes to me, I see it, I pull out my phone on my KBR account, and I look up your Instagram, like, straight up, and I usually make a decision right then and there if you're gonna work or not. So partnership is huge, and like Matt said, I love getting content, like raw content from you guys. Like, that is awesome, because then I can filter it to Bear, and Bear does her magic, and it just works all around. And especially the collaboration and things that like Meta is implementing. Collab with your partners. Even if we don't respond to it or we don't accept it, we see it, and it helps you and it helps us, and it just expands the whole audience and the whole scope of that one Instagram post.
I want to say too, especially, well, no, because I think a lot of people are probably sitting in this room, and it's like, how do you get from where I'm at now to being able to send one email if I have a tiny little following, if I have a very small social media presence? For me, when I started out, I reached out to companies that I had already been using their products, or I let them know, hey, I have already bought this. I am doing this. I'm going to continue to support your company because I used it when I was 16. I'm still whatever your reason for supporting that company, just let them know who you are, why you like their product. Don't ask for anything. This is my name. I'll let you know when I do good. And then when you do good at the next race, send them an email. Chances are the people on that brand side are going to remember you hitting them up the second or third time. But the first one, you just got to shoot from the heart. I don't want money. I don't want free stuff. I just want you to know who I am.
I love that. And feel free to do some content to show them what you can do. Tag them in something. If you're already using the product, you already have it, show it to them, and then you could be like, there's more where this came from, right? I love that so much. Now, we talked about value. I think value is the soft word for ROI, return on investment. So from the manufacturer's seat, at the end of the day, even if it's not right now, even if they're slinging out a lot of product at the start of the year, somewhere around mid-year, you come into Q3, they're like, oh, shoot, what did we get for all that product? What is our return on investment? And someone like Brian or someone like Krista, someone's going to call them up and be like, hey, looking at the what is our return on investment? So I'm going to give this one to you first, Brian, because you work with a lot of brands, and it is your job to show them ROI. How do you show ROI for what content creators or what the sponsor program is doing? Is it all, some drivers like, they want me to sell a whole bunch of product. I'm not a salesperson. How do you show that?
Well, it's certainly not just how we feel. I can tell you that. ROI, or return on investment, as she said, is primarily what businesses are looking for when they do any kind of content marketing, and whether that's just posting about their brand or working with someone like we have here on a panel or any other influencer. They're looking for some kind of a return, getting something back. And so you have technology and tools such as Autofluencer, which is a wonderful tool, dashboard that showcases what influencers do in terms that a business owner is going to understand its reach, its engagement. And then if you have an in-house marketing director or if you're working with an agency, you're then taking that content and turning that into some type of a campaign, whether you're just amplifying and boosting it on social media or if you're turning it into an actual ad, and then you're tracking the return on that spend. And I'll tell you, as an agency, content marketing alone is probably the largest return on investment that we do for our clients. We've had campaigns deliver 84 times the return on investment. So for every dollar, that campaign, we have one campaign that hit that. Some are a little bit slightly less, average between probably 20 and 50, but one campaign, for every dollar, it returned 84. And that's the power of content marketing, and that's how we track ROI.
That's awesome. Krista, what about you?
So I, like most brands, I have this sweet little old CFO that calls me into her office and, what are you doing, Krista? Why are we giving away all this product? So I have to show her why. Why are we doing this? What is the value in this? And so it could be straight up ROI. Like, one thing that I absolutely love is whenever I'm working with someone that has one of our brand's products in there, they send me an email. Hey, we went to the drag strip this weekend, and I won the stick shift shootout or whatever it may be. But I also have this friend who is running a competitor's clutch, and they want to be a part of the McLeod family as well. Boom, boom, boom. That's exactly what I need. I need to sell more clutches. That's bottom line. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
And so outside of that, we also, you got to be very, play on words, creative with how you do this as well. You can also become a distributor for a lot of manufacturers. I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like, you can actually open up your own shop and you can sell our products directly through you. And that is actually one of the best ways, especially on the McLeod side, just the way that we do our business. We want to help you help us type thing. You scratch our back, we'll scratch your back. If you want to, be able to grow your presence, it's all about selling more of what I have. But also, on the flip side of that, that is like hard money, hard numbers, hard data. But also, as a brand, I want to see McLeod flourish throughout all of social media. I want to see Silver Sport be able to be posted in places that it's never been. So it's also a branding aspect as well. So on my free time, which is limited, but it's there, I go in and I look up the hashtag Silver Sport. I look up hashtag Competition Clutch to see who is talking about us, who, one, I might have missed, but maybe this person is a good fit. Maybe this person needs to upgrade their transmission and I'm able to help them. But no, just on ROI, whatever you can give back to me is exactly what I'm looking for. And it's all about that communication too. Keep that communication open with me. And the more people that you can say, like, hey, I went to the racetrack and this person is interested in buying something, I'll extend a discount to them and they could be on board with us as well. So that's one thing that I don't think a lot of people, ambassadors, do for us is you can sell it. Like, I will sell it and I will give you the discount. I will even give you props in the post that you sold it for me. And that's going to go way above and beyond than what you can imagine.
So I think this is funny. This is a perfect situation right here. My first question, if we were in a meeting, what do you value and how do you measure ROI? What are you looking for? Do you want clicks to your website? Do you want somebody to use my Matt Field discount code? Do you want straight sales directly to your website? But wait, do you sell direct to customer? You don't sell direct to customer. Okay, who's your largest distributor? Turn 14, somebody else. Now, does that shape my strategy to then push people towards the turn 14? But then you need to be in the industry for that. So how does the end user buy that product? That's my step one of how we figure that out. Because once we know that, Brandon and I can then create something strategically for you. How you guys show your own value and how you actually get return. We also have Sprout, so it's a social media tracking metric. So some people just have value, not based on clicks, not based on sales dollars, just about brand recognition. That's not everybody, but that is definitely a certain amount of people. So I think it's just about tailoring what you need to your specific company. And don't be afraid to ask. Ask those questions that I just did. How do I make sure that I am giving back to and providing you with what you want? Because everybody's a little bit different. Somebody who's direct to customer is very different from having to go through a distributor. And you should know that before you start promising that you're going to sell some clutches.
I'll just jump and add one thing. Remember those questions that Matt just asked. Remember those and ask those, because if you don't know the target, you don't know how to react, you don't know how to add value. So very good.
I think that's great. And also, do your homework. Look on their website. It's a step one. A lot of times you can learn how to spell. ChatGPT. But you know, a lot of times they'll put on their, well, you can see if they sell direct, right? You can see if there's a click to buy, is there a shopping cart? So you know that, okay, maybe they do affiliate, or if they're distributor only. I love what Wharton is doing, making them, you know, distributors. There's more to that than it sounds, but it is a creative solution there. And then also know sometimes on their website, like even here, if you're going to meet with any brands, if you're a driver in this audience, look on their website on if they post about their driver program or their partner program, their sponsor program, because some actually have it on their website and how to apply. So when you do speak with someone, you say, hey, I saw on your website there was a thing about your partner program. It looks like it's already closed. Is there any way to still get in? Or how do I get in for next year? Or when do you open it back up? Because it shows you took the 37 seconds, you know, to look it up. And that just makes a little bit of a difference. And you could straight do it before you walk up to their booth. Like pull up your phone, look, and then go over there, right? It's not an hour of homework. So the whole topic here was the future of social media. So I would love for our panelists to put on their Nostradamus hats and predict the future for us. Where do you see content creation going, content creators, the role of social media for brand? Where do you see that going in the future? What are your predictions? And we will ding you if you're wrong, just so you know. Like, we will all judge you. We'll remember this. Everybody's recording it. We'll know.
Maybe I'll go last then. For me, I have seen year-over-year growth over the past 5 years, which is, I say 5 years because that's when I had Brandon on my side. We're actually tracking, we're seeing metrics, we're seeing video views. So I think we're all fools to think that it's going to take a 180-degree turn and go back the other way. But I think that none of us can predict the future. So what that means is that we need to be reactive and proactive at the same time. Proactive meaning that we need to continue doing what we're doing, providing value to our brands. But then when you do see something like a trending audio, or we all noticed when Instagram all of a sudden was pushing reels, you better freaking react and you better start making some reels. That's for damn sure. And then, as we all know, carousels started getting pushed huge 6 months ago. And if you weren't posting regular pictures on your Instagram, your engagement dropped. So you have to be reactive. I don't know what the recipe is. I'm fortunate that me and Brandon kind of put our heads together, and we're users of social media enough that you can kind of take notice. But I'm sure there's something out there in the world of the internet that'll tell you what the next thing is and the next strategy. And look at TikTok, it was the same thing, right? I think a lot of people were like, that's not gonna work, and now look at us, right? Yeah, we don't want to admit it, but that's also part of the social media game. So I can't predict the future, but all I can say is that I plan on utilizing it as a tool as long as I possibly can, and as long as my partners hold it valuable.
Oh gosh, the future. One, I am such a proponent of be yourself. Do not be anything else than what you are. If that is you in the garage when it's snowing out, then that is you, right? That's one of the big things. And flipping back to, the racer side on me, I mean, I don't post any content unless it's me, like it's shining through me. And I have a wonderful social media creator for myself. Her name is Sadie Glenn, and me and her just connect up here somehow. And she knows exactly what I want to say, and she posts it for me. But actually, one of my best posts are always when I am real, and I am, that second I get out of that race car and the emotions are raw, and I'm talking about my sponsors, talking about my brand partners, and huffing and puffing because it feels like I just ran a marathon, but I was only in the car for 3 seconds. But that's the big thing is with social media, you can get caught up. You absolutely can. You can get caught up in, the cute little dances and very trending things, But outside of that, you also want to push, look, this is me, and I like to be in this industry, and I like to, work on my car. I like to drive my car. I like to work at where I'm working, and that's what's going to shine through all the unfortunate, paid advertisements that a lot of other content creators make, and it's very, very fake, and you can just see right through it, who's going to buy a product from them when they're just like, oh, and then over here we have this cool box, and it's red and pretty, and ooh, la la, and it's like, get out of here, put it in the car, put it in the car.
Yeah, the future. I would say you both touched on it. It's being authentic. It's absolutely being who you are. But also, it's doing more and more of it. There are going to be more users in 2025 than ever on social media. Marketers are already saying that they're going to spend a lot more money on influencer and creator marketing in 2025. And I would say, from a creator standpoint, build your content. Do as much content as often as possible. So you go through the mistakes, you see the things that don't work, but more importantly, you find the things that do work. And then if you're a business owner, then you also need to look at this as a strategy for going forward, because this is how you're going to connect. Honestly, in our business, and I've been doing this for 25 years, creator marketing is the largest return that we're seeing on investment by far over everything else. So just more.
I like what everybody has said so far, and then just to add on to that too is not only being your true authentic self, but what I've noticed a lot more is that creators are, how can I say this? On YouTube and stuff, we all have our favorite YouTubers and content creators, and everyone can just, they bring out their phones, they're eating a meal, and they're sitting down and they're watching YouTube. That's what the new TV is compared to seeing something on TV. And because we all know that that's acting and that's different, but when you're seeing a creator be themselves, that is being more favored than watching anything else. If you're sitting down eating, or you're waiting, you're at the mall, I don't know what it is, but no matter what, you pull out your phone and you're on YouTube, and that's becoming the new TV. Now, we don't want to depend on it. Again, use it as a tool. I like how that was said. But I do predict a pretty big growth in the next year.
Love it. So we're going to go quick fire round. One pro tip to a brand that they can do right now that's easy, right? An easy pro tip to a brand is something you can do to scale your partnerships, build smarter partnerships. And one quick pro tip for a creator of something that you can do right now to take your business to the next level, and no copying each other. So you can't say ditto as an answer. That doesn't count. So Courtney, we're going to start with you at the other end.
Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, one quick pro tip to a brand having to do with like interacting with creators and stuff on partnerships. Like if you had to give one piece of advice to any of the brands sitting in the room and one piece of advice to any creator sitting in the room on anything. I mean, almost anything.
No, yeah. For a brand to, branch out and pick a creator, pick somebody that aligns with you, ask them a lot of questions, let them ask a lot of questions. Because one of the things that I have faced that's very difficult for me is I don't want to change myself to fit your expectations. It's hard. Again, you came to me because you see me as being unique, and I feel like if you want to be with me, you wouldn't want to change any part of me. And then for a creator, one tip that I have for you is to just keep going. It's hard. I've been doing this for 6-7 years by myself. I don't have any equipment. I do have a job, so that takes up a lot of my time, and I don't have anyone else to help me, but I know I'll get there eventually. So that's definitely a goal of mine, but just don't give up. It's taken me 6-7 years, and it's been a long time. It's been rewarding, but success is never in a straight line. It is all over the place, so we are going to have...
Sometimes it's in a straight line.
So, yeah, for you, that was a good one. For you, it's definitely in a straight line. I like that one. Don't take it, though. She said no stealing. It can be everywhere, but like I said, just don't give up. We have times where we're very hard on ourselves. You have to look back on everything and see how far you've come.
So I would say for the businesses out there, if creator or if content marketing is not a part of your strategy, make it a part of your strategy starting today. Start posting stuff yourself, and then you can kind of figure out some things that may work or may not work for your brand, or actually come to understand or realize why you might need to work with an influencer or a creator yourself. But you start doing it yourself, then you can figure out what you like. On the creator side, I would say, because I do a lot of our content at Sexton & Co. for our business itself, is just post it. Like, record it and post it. Record it and post it. Don't worry about how you sound, how you look, because to get to the 100th piece of the 100th post or the 1000th post, you have to get through the first, second, 12th. So the more you do it, the better you'll get.
For the manufacturer side, for the brand side, hire that person. Even if it's an intern, hire them. If they're in college, like I said, I literally was in college and I reached out to Paul, and he's like, yeah, come on down. I was free, and it didn't cost the company anything. So please go out and find that person. It's a totally different world. Like, it's like an infinite universe. This social media, it's also a black hole, and sometimes and you get sucked in, and you just need to have those new ideas, new creativity flowing through that company, and sometimes that's what you need. You just need an uptick. But on the content side, oh gosh, you gotta continue to be yourself. That's a big thing, and also use spell check. Yeah, make sure you spell out the names right. And also tag us. There are so many people out there that forget the tag. I've gone through videos and I look for the hashtag, the collaboration, the something. Remember to tag the brand. Even if it's not the best video, like Brian said, tag us, because it's going to help us, it's going to help you, and we're going to be able to see it, and we're going to be able to track it, especially through the Auto-Fluencer program. If you don't tag it, then Erica can't send me the stats that you're doing your job type thing. So tag the brands.
In the captions.
All right, I'm a little bit biased because I'm a racer, so my advice to a brand is take the chance on the racer. Don't only get your vision starry-eyed by the YouTuber and the YouTuber numbers. that would be for me. I am fortunate that nowadays I potentially have a very small YouTube channel and a decent social media, but at one point I was just a racer with a dream. So I think that a lot of brands get their judgment completely clouded and might work with somebody strictly off of numbers and overlook that racer who is busting their ass to get to the racetrack and truly deserves it. But I'm biased, so. And as far as the racer or the content creator, I would say be that person that says yes. Don't be and if they say, can you get it done? Do it. Get it done. Don't say yes and then do it tomorrow. Don't say yes and then do it next week. Send the email, reply to that message, shoot the video, get it done. Even if you have to stop what you're doing, just get it done. Because these are the type of things that build relationships, and they remember this. A perfect example, I wouldn't say it was a newer partner, new people got put in place. I was dealing with this person, he left that company, now I'm dealing with this person, have to create the new relationship with this new rep. I could tell they were a little bit confused at why I was getting what I was getting and the way that the relationship and the partnership was working. And I could tell his guard was up. And then he called me one time in a panic and needed some photos, and he needed them that day. And I said yes. And now he comes up and he hugs me. So it works.
I love that. Nice. All right, now it's time for your questions. Can we get our little mic stand, please? And while he's getting that set up, I do have a call-in question, a remote question from LinkedIn. You guys didn't know you could submit questions there. It was just a comment on a post. So, all right. This is from Bryce Kinney. Many of you may know him from his Monster Jam fame and his book, Geared for Life. And this question goes to Matt. Bryce wants to know, and can someone record this for Bryce? Bryce wants to know, with the rise of short-form video and the decline of traditional TV coverage, how are you adapting your content strategy to ensure drifting maintains its audience growth while some other motorsports struggle?
So for me, I think it's crazy because Monster Jam sell out arenas, has a solid TV package. There is so much money being thrown around internally, but I also know that that's a completely different strategy and how it's structured, being that Monster Jam owns everything. So for me, I feel like I have one path that I'm heading down, and no one's going to stop me from getting there, and that is to try to be the best race car driver that I can be and be the best partner for my sponsors that I can potentially be. So adapt, like I was saying before. If you have that opportunity to get those reels, like they do so well, and it could cost you no money at all. So forget about paying a huge, oh, I need the red and I need this and I need that. No, you just need somebody who you can trust, who can crank out footage quickly with you and be reactive. I think I've said this throughout the whole meeting, but it's a two-way street because I look at what Monster Jams has going on in NASCAR, and I'm envious of their TV package. So I think that it's not necessarily completely one-sided because a lot of the big partners who write the big checks are still a little bit on the older side, and they still value TV. So I think that we just have to remember, as a whole, it might be heading in that direction where what I have going on in my YouTube and my social media will be favorable, but right now, it's not the only way. So I think if you ever have the opportunity to be in front of that TV camera, because we know it's going to be on MAV TV, say yes.
All right, questions. We have a little microphone. You can run up right there, right? See the little microphone? I know, you got to get, we're going to make you guys, it's not like you don't have enough steps yet. It's not like we don't. I know, crossing through. I don't know. Do we want to pass? I don't know if we'll have. Do you want me to run the mic?
Okay, so this is a question about reach and engagement algorithms, okay? Because Scott and I own a Top Fuel team, okay? So we are Top Fuel team owners. He drives. We have an aviation background. Social media is so far out of my wicket, but I'm like doing my best to paddle fast and try to figure it out. One of my brutal realizations was I was using Video Shop to edit reels, because reels are, I love reels, absolutely. I did not realize until just this week that Instagram dings my reels in terms of reach because it still has the Video Shop watermark on it. Well, if I had known that, I would have paid the extra money to have the watermark removed, and now I've got all these reels that could have had more reach had I known. And so that's my question, is sort of these hidden rules that affect your reach and engagement. In aviation, we have a handbook of all those rules, and all I have to do is follow the directions. It's really simple. How do I educate myself more on the reach and engagement algorithms for social?
It's a great question, and unfortunately there's not a simple answer because it's changing. Probably just changed 10 minutes ago. And so it changes a lot, and the real way that we combat that, because we look at data and numbers all the time, is just the more you do it, and not only just posting it and putting it up, but looking at that back end and like really truly analyzing after it has been posted, what it's doing, and then changing what you do. But I would suggest, yes, if anyone is using any video software and the logo is still in there, do whatever you can, remove that logo. Because it's just one of the things, unfortunately. But beyond that, it's posting as much content as possible and then looking at the data after.
On the creator aspect of things, when you create reels and stuff, not only is it the watermark that you can get dinged for, it's also the words that you're using in your reels as well, like certain captions. Right, so if you're creating a video and there's no captions, someone who can't hear does not know what you're doing or saying or explaining, so they're not going to understand. So having captions, and inside those captions, make sure that they're visible, easy to read. So if you're standing in front of the camera and you have space above your head, make sure that there's nothing crazy going on above your head. Make sure it's like a very simple background, making sure that the text is clear, or having the text highlighted in the bottom so that way they can still see and understand what's going on. Nothing's obstructing the view. And I think that's pretty much, and then trending audio too, making sure the audio tracks. Just look for the arrow in the bottom left-hand corner. That also can help as well.
That's helpful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's also there's some Reddit forums too, so not to add more research, but you heard Courtney say it. I mean, there's hours, there's some Reddit forums as well that people will talk about what's changing, because a lot of it is guesses of what's happening with the algorithm, right? So the one thing you can always bet on, if Instagram rolls out a new feature, or any platform, if they roll out a new feature, even if you're like, this is dumb, what's this notes thing? Use it. Use that feature, because they are going to drop the algorithm. Well, they're going to stop suppression because they want you using those new features, because they're trying to get data as part of their testing. So use any new feature, even if you think it's a stupid feature, you don't understand that feature, it doesn't make sense, test it, use it, and you'll see that change. And then I can tell Amanda's got a comment. Do you have a comment on this? That's what I thought. Here, I've been working on my dismount. What? Yeah. That
Thanks,
cool?
guys.
Here.
Yeah, so I will say that I have found that neither Facebook nor Instagram keep those rules a secret. They will flat out tell you how they are putting content in front of people, and there are a couple places to find it. So there is a Facebook for Creators group page. There's also an Instagram for Creators page with a ton of content on telling you exactly what they dock and what they don't dock. If you go to your Instagram professional profile too, there is a space there that will, it's got a couple different categories in there that tell you exactly how the algorithms work too.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
Thanks for the save on that one. Yeah, next up.
So I'm content creator kind of turned into a marketing agency. So I'm really trying to understand how to approach these brands and tell them, hey, look, I do kind of both. I can do the high-end production stuff, but I can also do the content creator. I have a decently good personality in front of a camera. So what do you guys suggest into kind of being like a one-stop shop for these brands or for other businesses that are looking for that?
Well, what do you think that you're struggling with?
I think it's just getting the message across, because like I said, I'm a one-man band. So I've been able to meet people locally, but to expand upon that and be like, look, I have these capabilities. Yes, I just have this gear, but I know that my capabilities show this. And so
it sounds like getting a deal with another brand is what you're struggling with, right?
Yeah.
Outreach, more money, more partners, more opportunities.
Yeah.
Dude, with that, it's just making the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
If you're as good at what you're doing as you say that you are, and I think that if you are, that's great. If not, then maybe you need to get better at what you're doing. But if you're as good as you say that you are doing, just make the connection. When you walk this floor out here, it's a sea of opportunity. But don't be the guy asking for $1 today, because they're going to say no and they don't even want to know your name. Yeah, just let them know who you are and what you're doing. It's real simple. And then you have to follow up. And then sometimes you also have to spend a little bit of money to make that introduction, meaning produce that piece of content, highlight that product, talk about that company, put in the legwork, and then send them an email. Chances are they're going to see it. But getting through, breaking that door down is going to be the hardest thing. And you got to keep knocking. That's all I can say. Keep knocking.
Well, I'm going now. Stop it. One thing is, like Matt said, be creative. Actually, if you really wanted to, you would head to the whatever brand's social media, go to the tagged section, and see who is tagging them, and then send them a message like, hey, I see that you're trying to work with this brand. I have this company. Can I help you help them type thing? And then if you collaborate with someone that I'm already working with, then I'd be like, oh, whoa, this guy is doing it. Like, maybe I'll have you come on board for a different project or something like that. So creativity is huge.
That's always the case, too. When you're in that inner circle, and all it takes is one person to bring you in, then all of a sudden they're like, absolutely, I want to work with them.
Brother, I have been in your shoes. Let me just tell you, I've been there. 8 years ago when I started my agency, it was me. I literally did everything. I made the phone calls, did the content, shot, like literally everything. And the best thing that I did was hire a second person.
Yeah.
to help you, because at the end of the day, there's only so many hours, and something is going to struggle. It's either going to be your business, your content, or your client relations. And so, but I would say to start, you do need a few clients to kind of get it to where you can hire somebody. Just bust your butt, get in front of people. There's a ton of clients here, and yeah, just put yourself out there and don't stop. Like Matt said, just keep talking to people, keep telling them that you can solve their problems with what you're doing, and when you can, that's when they hire you.
The one thing that I will say is that they're still watching. Don't think that, you know, you're making these attempts and they're just like, oh, well, there they go. No, I promise you that they're watching. And Krista, you have definitely mentioned that. So they're like, they're watching. I promise you that they're still watching you. Even if it's taken 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be, they're still going to be watching. And then coming from someone that does it themselves, it's hard. If you can get a second person, I highly recommend it. Because for me, and I will be honest, like what I still struggle with is, you know, producing my own content, let alone sponsorships that I have under my belts, that I have the products, and it's been very difficult for me to put them in the car. And I will be honest with that. It's really hard. I have a lot of things that I juggle, and it sucks because that's not my intention, is, you know, to lag on the timeline. I'm doing everything that I can, but I'm also pushing myself to the limits and trying to give yourself some grace. You know, don't forget about that, because you are working really hard. They see it, but, you know, if you can't get that second person, go for it.
Oh, thank you.
I had to write mine down because my ADHD is a little all over the place.
I think
but,
this whole panel feels
Yeah.
you on that one.
well, and I'm sure all you guys will have a different perspective on this, but as brands and manufacturers, do you prefer, because I make so I should rewind. I own a shop, I also drive, and I built the cars, you know, but I only work in one specific niche. I work with Volkswagen Audis. I like headaches. But it's like, do you guys prefer content that is long form or short form over one or the other? Like, I love doing DIYs, but they take forever to edit. You do a 9-hour repair, and I'm spending 18 hours to try to turn this into something that is consumable, that's not like a mini-series on Netflix. So it's like, where do you go on some of this?
All right, for me, I'm in the same exact shoes that you are. Exactly, all those same
Size
things.
11?
So The only way I think that you can do it without absolutely killing yourself is hire a person to be there with the camera.
Yeah.
Now, you're right. You don't want an 11-hour deal. So what I'll do is I'll make sure he comes in the morning, and then you finish it off, right? He's here, film for 2 hours, they can leave. You're not paying a guy's day rate for him to hang around and watch you tinker and try to extract a broken bolt for 6 hours, because we know that will happen.
Oh, yeah.
Have him come, do the setup, do the intro, cool lighting, if that's what you want, a long-form YouTube video. And
It's
then
details, man.
If he leaves, then film the rest yourself. That phone right there will turn horizontal and do everything that you need to do. And then have that guy who came also do the editing, because then you can move on. And if you want to handle all the short form stuff, you can chop, you can crop, you can do whatever you need to do. And don't forget, you have to finish the freaking job. So that, to me, I always put that as my number one priority, is finishing the job, whatever it might be. Even if your job's not done that day, but getting done with what you told yourself you needed to get done. Because as a business owner, if you don't get that done because you were editing the video, the next thing stacks up. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it is.
So you would be way better off saying, all right, I'm done filming. I'll pay that guy whatever per hour to do the editing. And you know, when you're a shop owner, you know you're like, oh, I'm gonna do something, you film it. It's not hard to edit. It's literally just stop, start, right? There's no editing. There's no crazy transitions. It couldn't be any easier for them. So find somebody that you can pay relatively little, who's a local person, to do a stop, start, edit, fire it off on YouTube, and get the job done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you guys want? You want long-form, short?
Well, I all of it actually. I could use all kinds of content, but do what you're comfortable with. That's the thing, is like, if you're not comfortable standing up there and holding your phone, if that's how you're gonna do it, for 8 hours, like, okay, so now we're on hour 7 and we still have the transmission in the car. Like, you know what I mean? But do what makes you feel comfortable, and whatever, like, you can speak well in a short form video, then do short form. It could even be
I actually find it harder to do short form over a long form. Like, comprising information down is harder than trying to edit.
You could, but on the flip side of that, you could also make it a series. And so you could do, one day you're doing this, the next day you're following up, next day, you can make it 10, 30-second things, and then people are engaged like, oh, well, how is he going to take the exhaust off, or whatever it's going to be, so people are going to get more in tuned on it. But as a manufacturer, I'll take anything. I'll take whatever you want to give me, but it's as long as you feel comfortable in front of the camera. I don't want to push you to do something where you're like, I don't know what to say now. What do I do with my hands? Don't do that. Just be comfortable with what you have.
I have one, speaking of VW, I don't know if you follow Annie's VW. So she did it. She's not a shop owner. She's a first-time VW builder. And talk about someone who can synthesize the whole thing into really good 90-second reels. She does a bang-up job of it. So it's worth looking. She uses a lot of time lapse, but to talk about someone who made sanding the vehicle down interesting. I mean, she had weeks of sanding content, but man, I watched every single one of them. And sometimes it's just to what Courtney, you said, the music. She looks at the audience demographics, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you get the music right, people will watch it. Like, they will watch it. So I would say Annie's VW is a good one to look at for long form DIY stuff that turns it into short form.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next up, my man.
All right, how's it going? Matt Field, big fan. I don't have this problem, but I'm curious. How do you deal with negative PR on social media?
Don't read the comments.
Correct. No, even on the manufacturer side, there has obviously, we want every product to be perfect. There are sometimes there's a manufacturer defect, or it gets installed incorrectly, and then they try to blame it on us. And there is some long forums on Facebook, let me tell you, just bashing us. And so as a brand, you take what the issue is in a very nice, polite, like, hey, we want to investigate your problem. Can you please give us a call or please email this, whatever it is, and make sure it's to an email to an actual person, because then you feel more connected. Like when you are mad and I'm like, this clutch sucks and it slips and blah, 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 blah. And then finally like, hey, I see your problem. My name is Krista. Please reach out to me. I want to see what happened, because I honestly want to have the research of what went wrong. And most of the time they cool off a little bit before they call you, and so it works out. But on the flip side, as a content creator, don't look at the comments. It's trash out there sometimes.
Yeah, I don't have much to add other than there are some angry people out there for no other reason than they're just angry. No, you either ignore it or move on. If you're a business owner and it's something just flat out nasty, you can either remove it or you can, as Krista said, you just, hey, sorry that happened to you. Please reach out to us at email and we'd be happy to talk to you about it. And same with Google reviews. They're similar. It's if someone leaves a horrible review for your business, address it, have them just say, hey, please contact me. And it at least lets people know that you're trying, you're not just ignoring it. So.
On the creator aspect of it, I have learned to ignore it as well. The first couple times I was like, this is tough. Yeah, I was definitely crying. I've gotten used to it, unfortunately. And then after a while, like after I was just really thinking about it, these are people that I'm never going to see in my entire life. I'm never going to run into them, I think. Yeah, I hope not. But in the end of the day, as long as you surround yourself with friends and family and people that enjoy your presence, that enjoy who you are and love you for who you are, that's what's going to matter in the end of the day. Not these keyboard warriors that are just typing up stuff. And most of the time they're angry because maybe you have something that they don't have and they just don't have access to, or they can't have it at all and they're jealous of that. And sometimes that's why they leave it there. And the other side of it is like, if someone leaves a hate comment on my content or whatever, picture, video, YouTube video is like brutal. But if someone just leaves it, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, maybe they're just in a really bad spot in their life and they just kind of want to let it go, or they're just simply just angry. That's it.
Thank you.
There's, on that topic, just real quick, there's a great episode. I don't know if anybody listens to High Octane Hustle podcast with Fastlane Jane and Design Muse, Teresa Contreras. And they just had one recently with Georgia. And she has a great comment to this. And so it's well worth listening of how she thinks of bad comments. And a lot of the content creators will echo this, as she'll reply and she'll say, thanks for boosting my engagement. Because it does, whether it's good or it's bad, the more comments you get, the more engagement, and that feeds the algorithm. So she just sits back and lets it feed her algorithm, and she takes it for that. And we had another creator at Sietsma make the comment that he was getting hate on one of his builds, but after the fact, he had the best comment where he just said, you know what, getting hate means I've made it. He was like, that's how I know I've made it. I've got trolls. So I thought that was a pretty great perspective, is to put a spin on it and be like, I've arrived. All right, last up.
All right, thank you. I'm a college professor, and so Krista, you're saying use spell checker? Mm-hmm. Yes, please use spell checker. But go beyond that, use grammar check, because spell check will pick up the wrong word as being spelled correctly. So, use both. Quick question for you. How much AI do y'all use, or do you see with people sending you proposals that's relatively obvious as AI?
I have never even opened up an AI website. I refuse to. I'm gonna try to never do that as long as I possibly can. Not saying it's never gonna happen, because who knows where the world's going, but I am against it in every single way. I literally wouldn't even know where to go. I'd have to Google ChatGPT, and it would be the first time that it's ever opened on any device. So I'm against it.
A little bit different perspective on this one. On the manufacturer side, Bear and I actually use a lot of Chat GPT, only because sometimes you have to be creative all the time, and you got to figure out how that caption's going to work and what's going to happen. And we actually used it for one of our new products. It's the McLeod Clutch Cooler Pro, and we actually typed in what the product does, and that's what they came up with. And so far, it's been a hit. So there's good and bad to it.
Absolutely the same. So I would say we use it a lot as kind of a Kickstarter. It supercharges our thoughts, and you can be very specific with prompts and ask specific things. And I would say the models are getting better every day, all the time, and it can help, again, kickstart your brain. So if you're trying to think of some content ideas or a content calendar, something around a particular brand you like, or maybe even a brand that you're pitching, you can have it put together something, and that will. Right, you have it read their website. You can have it build out an entire video or content strategy, and then you apply your own stuff to it. I wouldn't copy and paste by no stretch of the imagination. It's just meant to use to get your brain thinking a little harder. But then you can take that and then do content that you can then pitch to businesses, or just make your page that much better.
I've used it to organize certain pieces, but never have done it to write out an entire prompt. Like if I'm writing a few paragraphs, I'll ask it to clean it up for punctuation, because that really bothers me. But yeah, that really does bother me too. Just to make it sound a little bit more better, more crispy. If double checking the tone. If I'm doing a pitch, is this the right type of tone that I want to send out? Are they going to read this the right way or the wrong way? And I'll ask for feedback. Getting ideas for content is another one. I've definitely used it for ideas and brainstorming as well, because sometimes to be honest, I've sat in a chair for 6 hours just trying to figure something out as far as YouTube, which I'm still very much new to, but helping organize content that way and giving myself better ideas. But just learning, or for example, sorry to go off on another topic, but writing a description for a product is also super helpful as well. It really does make it pop a lot more too. It's a good tool. There's definitely pros and cons, but on the creator side, I would not use it to write out an entire sponsorship deck or create pictures. Yeah, that's definitely going to screw people over, but it's very obvious when someone does use it, and I can see it on my side as well, just being a creator alone.
Thank you.
There's one last comment on that. Has anybody tried the new TikTok AI avatars? Anybody? Bueller? So this summer, TikTok launched their AI for creators, and you can legit record yourself, your voice, and it gives you a script to say. And their whole thing is creators can be creating in the middle of the night. And you can put in, and what they're doing it for is TikTok Shop. Anybody have a TikTok Shop? Okay, I just saw some people recently in our industry start to launch a TikTok Shop. But the thought is that you can take products that a brand can feed to you if they integrate to the product catalog on TikTok, which any e-com brands can do pretty straightforward, and can integrate in, and then they can actually pick creators that have these AI avatars, and then your AI avatar will record the ad, and it'll pick the music and publish it. And so legit using a creator and a creator's personality, and there's creators that aren't even in our industry that have recorded their AI avatars and made themselves now available for this. So it's really crazy to see where it's going to go. I think it's weird AF, and I don't think it looks good. But the scary part is it doesn't look too bad, right? We're on that weird verge where we could be sitting up here next year, and this is going to be an AI for creator panels, and we're all going to be holograms and shit, and you're going to be like, what's going on? But it's getting good fast. So my one piece of advice on AI is, I love your perspective and I appreciate it, but you could a little bit be like the brand, be like, I'm never going to work with a content creator. Careful to totally ignore it, because for efficiencies, there definitely could be some things there. And I think around editing is going to be an area where it could really change your lives. To be able to go in and tell it exactly where you want it to edit, and can edit and do the transitions without you having to hire an editor, which sucks for video editors. But I think it's going to change the game there. And I think, unfortunately, it sucks for the graphic designers. But it's already starting to change just for cover images, thumbnails. If you think about the amount of data it can compute to know what a good thumbnail looks like and to use your brand, I think that's another big area where we'll see it take over in the next year. So that's my prediction. All right, anybody else? Oh, we got one more question. Last one.
Yeah, real quick.
We still have plenty of time to get to the happy hour, everybody. Don't worry.
My question is about hashtags. And what is, in you guys' experience, what is the quickest way to get your hashtags put in? And then at the same time, for partnerships and things like that, what do you guys think when you see like a cringy hashtag where it's like, you know, Formula D, a heat wave, McLeod, P. Diddy, United Health, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Hopefully, no one's doing. So, but is that one single long hashtag or multiple? Like, well, yeah, we call those hashtag bricks. And what do you do? So, what do you do?
We definitely tag all of our partners, absolutely. We steer away from any type of buzzword hashtags. I feel like our content from day one has been extremely authentic, our true voice, and I mean me and Brandon and I, and that's it. There is no try to tag something just for more views. And for a moment there, I was like, Brandon and I talked about it, I'm like, hashtags are dead, why are we still doing this? And we kind of went back and forth. Again, hashtags are dead. And then we even did a test. Are hashtags actually hurting the performance of some of this? Yes, it was, we weren't sure. But then to hear you say that you'll actually go and investigate somebody's profile and click your own hashtag and navigate to a profile, I know that that happened. So I think for me, I would keep mine in. They seem to be doing well. I don't see it removing too much performance, but I would always steer away from anything other than what it is exactly that we're doing.
I would keep it limited to an extent of like exactly like you hashtag the event you're at or whatever you may be doing, hashtag PRI 2024, and then hashtag McLeod Racing because you know you're talking with us, and that I wouldn't do any more of the words, the For You page, just in my experience, that's all. But yes, like I said earlier, I still go to hashtag McLeod Racing and see what's up, see where McLeod is in the world. And yes, there is a few times where on the racer side of me, I only hashtag a couple things, especially if it's like a very centralized post that I'm making. I'll just only hashtag maybe my personal hashtag, which is KBR Top Fuel, and then I would hashtag, you know, Lincoln Electric, because that's who I'm working with that week, or whatever it may be. But I don't stack it too deep. Like, some of the hashtags are a lot, but that's just my personal way of doing it, so.
Yeah. All right. So then, on the last bit of that, do you guys copy and paste, or do you just, every individual post has a, like, you know, you're individually doing, each post has 6 or 8 or...
Definitely copy and paste, especially if it's not a product or a brand specific. If it's going to be specifically for a program or whatever we're doing that day, then yeah, you write it out. But for the normal, just a picture of your car or a picture of what you're doing, copy and paste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Oh, one more.
I copy and paste as well, but for hashtags, what I've noticed is try to keep them general. The second you start to really narrow down on something and become very specific, it starts limiting your content to where not everybody's going to see it. So if you just kept, for me, like I'm involved with Subaru, so I'll just do like Subaru or hashtag Subaru, hashtag WRXSTI, and just like leave it as that. And maybe the year, if you looked at my page, my hashtags have stayed the same, and for me it's weird because when I have removed them completely, my content just goes downhill. If I've been copying and pasting the same hashtags for 6 years. Yeah. For 6 years. And when I change it, the same thing, it just goes downhill. So I've kept my hashtags the same for the past 6 years. And sometimes I'll get a couple million views. Sometimes I'll get 1 million. Sometimes I'll get 17,000. Sometimes I'll get 50. But every time that I remove it, change it to anything else, especially when I've done campaigns with other brands, it just does, my content just does not perform very well. So it's interesting. I think everyone up here has their own take on it for sure.
Just one random thing about the sponsor bricks, because I know there's kind of two schools of thought on a sponsor brick. So a sponsor brick is exactly, if you look at Matt's content, he does it. So in every single race post, he has all, not every single one, but when he's having a more general, just pictures from the race or stuff like that, not when he's obviously talking specifically about his title sponsor, but he'll have a brick with both the hashtags and the app mentions for everybody that's on his vehicle. Here's why I'll say that is a good thing for your general content. Some of your brand partners will ask you as part of the sponsorship to do one or more specific posts about their brand. So in those specific ones, and you can tell him Matt's when he's been asked to do that he doesn't have a sponsor brick then. It's just that brand, and he's speaking about that brand. But for your general race content, the sponsor bricks don't seem to hurt reach, because I've seen it in Matt's data. He's on a few of our different brand partnerships that we track on our platform. But it acknowledges everyone on his build and on his vehicle. And what I've heard actually from brands and from interesting journalists really appreciate it when the drivers mark who all they're working with, because then if they're going to interview a driver or they're trying to do a piece and they get hired by a brand to do something, or they get hired by PRI or they get hired by Sietsma to do a post about something, they find it way easier. They will use that hashtag search and they'll do hashtag Borla or at Borla, and they'll look at everybody. And that way, if you are doing that, they can quickly and easily see every piece on your vehicle. So everything you're using, whose clutch you're running, whose wheels, who's what. And it makes it way easier both kind of for journalists and the industry in general, and if someone's trying to do an acquisition, so let's say McLeod is trying to get someone off of another clutch company, they can look and say, okay, we want to try to get him. And it also helps for that, for any acquisition. So they're trying to get him. We're going to try and make a match happen up here. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. You all have been awesome. Appreciate it. If you took any pictures, tag us. Tag us, tag us.